I know we all have our own comfort game, something that we can sit down with and play after a hard day's work. Something you can use to calm yourself after realizing how cooked you are on an exam tomorrow. For me, StreetPass Mii Plaza is that game. Last semester of school was super stressful for me, and daily would I play StreetPass before bed to help calm my nerves and help me sleep. Plus, it's just nostalgia for me. Even when the 3DS wasn't totally dead, I barely got to play these games. I would farm play coins and use those dogs to help me progress in the game. Or cats, but like nobody picks cats, let's be so real. And even then, it wasn't nearly enough for an authentic experience. You would think that StreetPass in 2025 is dead, but honestly, it's more alive than it's been in 7 years. You see, some genius decided to create this new app called NetPass that allows you to street pass people without taking a single step outside. I've been using this routinely, and man, is it a godsend. It's allowed me to experience these games for the first time in almost a decade. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I didn't have a 3DS capture card. Until now, baby, let's go! Yeah, I got one. I'm one of the cool kids. I'm a big YouTuber now. Watch this video get like no views. Playing StreetPass on an emulator just isn't the same. Plus, I want to document my experiences. I don't want to get footage just for the sake of getting footage because it doesn't feel as authentic in my opinion. Also, I just don't want to replay all these games again. Like, they're good and all, but man, I didn't have the time for that. I'm already working on like 4 videos at once right now. I can't take any more of that. What I can take more of though is Puzzle Swap, the first StreetPass game, and also the most simple as well. Before I even talk about any of the content itself, the soundtrack for these games fills me with so much nostalgia. Nintendo games from the mid-2000s to the mid-2010s had a really distinct, charming sound that isn't really around anymore. And the Puzzle Swap music is just chill. This game is just chill. Well, I mean, I can't even really call it a game. When you meet other players, you get to swap puzzle pieces with them, and when you complete one, it gets added to your library for you to enjoy. I love how far they went with these. I was pretty shocked when I opened one of these completed puzzles and it started moving. I don't remember them doing that at all. And they look so cool with the 3D effect on as well. I wish I could show you through this video. I also have to say, the aesthetic for this quote game just has me vibing. I love how the seasons change and the animations are so cute. This is the first game I fully completed, well, kinda fully completed. There are some other extra puzzles, but they appear to be no longer available since I didn't activate Spot Pass before it got discontinued. So freaking screw me, I guess, am I right? Find Me. Man, this is an overrated ass game right here. Now, I'm just pulling your leg, but the way some people talk about this game, you'd think it was the next Ocarina of Time or something. It's probably due to the fact that it's one of the only free Street Pass games. And unlike me, most kids weren't willing to spend money on Street Pass. I'm telling you, man, that bunny salesman smooth talked me with that serene ass music that would play whenever you tried to buy a game. I would routinely talk to him without the intent to actually buy anything and just listen to the music while he explained the game to me. God, I loved it so much. He even convinced me to buy some games I could barely play, but I'll talk about that later. The game itself is sorta elusive to me because I never got enough Street Passes to actually get that far. And when I bought the dogs with the play coins, I would just keep playing this because I didn't care about it that much. And I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate this game way more than I did back then. It's a really basic RPG with magic and attacking. You can also make a Mii skip their turn to swap them out with another one. The swapping seems basic, but it adds a lot of extra depth to this game. In the tougher battles, I often find myself swapping out Miis to try and find an optimal setup to beat enemies as easily as possible. Like most of these games, the story is super basic. The color of a Mii's shirt will determine what their power is. All these basic ass bitches pick some type of blue as their favorite color, which is really annoying when you want to get any actual good abilities. I'm totally not guilty of this, guys. I'm innocent. The glove doesn't fit. Here's what each color does. Blue does water damage to basically all enemies. It's not a bad ability, but like every Mii has blue as their favorite color for some reason, so like it just gets old. Light blue freezes all enemies, and while they're frozen, you can keep beating their ass until it breaks free. Green doubles the level of the next Mii that will appear. Light green puts enemies to sleep. It varies how long it lasts though. Black darkens the room, and this kinda sucks actually. Brown summons a bunny hero who can have a random color and level. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. Always worth a gamble though. Orange invigorates all Miis, making them stronger. Pink makes Miis do critical hits, but their accuracy goes way down. Red does fire damage, white lights up a room, and yellow brings a sandstorm. Yellow is absolute garbage. Why does it exist? If your favorite color is yellow, consider yourself an op because you will ruin my Find Me runs so many times. I feel like somebody in the dev team just really hated the color yellow for some reason, so he was like, hey, if your favorite color is yellow, I'm gonna make your ability absolute trash. All of these abilities can be mixed and matched and optimized. It feels so good when you have a perfect run where every Mii is used perfectly and not a single one is wasted. But it also feels extra bad when you have a run where absolutely nothing goes right. If you played this game through legitimate Street Passes, it would move glacially slow. And yeah, Even with Net Pass, it's still not the most fast thing ever. But again, these games aren't meant to be binged in like hours. You just play them day to day or maybe a few times a week. That's what I've been doing. Although, play coins in this are super useful as the dog Miis or cat Miis. Yeah, they act as a one-to-one substitute of real players. Okay, I don't know why I'm hating on cat Miis so much. I'm sorry, cat lovers out there. It's just a joke. It's kind of a joke. It's not really a joke, actually. Who plays cat Miis, man? Who does that? I need to meet you in real life. I want to talk to you. Going back to Find Me, having a bad run can hurt a lot because it feels like such a huge waste of time. When it comes to StreetPass, time is the most valuable thing of all. And when it feels like that time has been wasted, it's genuinely anger-inducing. If you binge this game, it's actually pretty short. And since I spread out my sessions over weeks, it feels much longer than it really was. But replaying it for this video in one sitting has made me realize how short it actually is. The final boss is actually really fun and easily the best part of this game as well. Well, there's a fake out final boss, then a real final boss, and both of them are really fun to fight. It takes multiple sessions to fully beat both, and it requires genuine strategy to get anything done. The rest is pretty decent and is very satisfying to play. After beating it twice, there's something after that, but let's save that for later. Okay, so StreetPass actually allows you to get one additional game for free, although you can only pick from 2 games. Slot Car Rivals is the one that I am sure that 90% of kids picked because it had freaking badass race cars. The other option is about the stock market and finances. Boring. Yeah, every time I replayed StreetPass as a kid, I would pick this one to play because it looked more interesting than the finance one. Yeah, I'll get to that later. In playing it as a semi-adult for the first time, yeah, it's pretty good actually. As a kid, I thought it was just okay, but I have a new appreciation for it now. It has that good old StreetPass charm that absolutely salvages any gameplay issues I have with it. And even though my tastes have shifted dramatically, I actually like this game more than I did as a kid. Going back to this one for the video, I wasn't looking forward to getting footage, but I had a lot of fun with this. It helped me appreciate the game on a whole new level I never would have expected before. The story for this one is basically non-existent though. But like, that's all StreetPass games. I'm not gonna knock it for that. That would be dumb. I'm not doing that. You gotta become the greatest slot car racer of all time, going up in the ranks and making a name for yourself. That's gonna be especially hard for me because I absolutely suck at this one. I actually played this course for quite a bit because I needed to get footage of myself not failing at the game miserably, which proved to be quite difficult for me. You play on these tracks, and things in typical racing games like steering and drifting isn't present here. Instead, you have these red areas that you need to maneuver by letting go of A and pressing it again very quickly to turn corners. If you fail, you just straight up crash. Turns can be either good or excellent, and anything other than excellent feels unearned because it's either that or total failure. At first it seems very simple and even a little bare bones, but they managed to build off of the game's simplicity, mostly through the track layouts, which become more complex as the game progresses. At a certain point, you need to really be able to think fast when racing, and I get last place almost every single time because I suck. There are also track goals that you need to achieve to unlock new things, most importantly new tracks and going up in the ranks. This game is one of the ones where it's easier to progress. If you're binging this in a single day and not playing day to day like I am, you can blast through this extremely easily. Even better is that the play coin to real person conversion rate is really good here. Gosh, I need to make that like a real term for this video. Okay, now introducing play coin to real person conversion rate. It's a measure of how useful play coins are compared to real street passes. Here it's almost 1-to-1. Competitive races aren't the only things you can do though. You can also do practice races, and you do not know how many laps I had to go through just to get footage of me not failing. And there's even a whole ass Mii maker for cars. And it's like really in depth too for some reason. There's so many customization options here. I never played around with this feature until I began recording for this video, and man am I surprised. How did I miss this part of the game? What the hell? I made the most badass, most mesmerizing car of all time. I call it the Barbie. There are other cars as well, called special cars, and they're pretty cool. I like the giraffe one the most. At the end of the competitive races, all of your competitors come together and make a modification for your car. Depending on how well you do in the race, the better the modifications will be. This game just has that StreetPass charm in every single aspect of it. There are a lot of features that are completely unneeded, but are still added to this game. There's a car view, which lets you see more detail on the track, even if it makes racing way harder than it needs to be. It's just a cool little extra feature they added. It's not meant to be used practically. There's also your Mii, which drops the car back on the track when it falls off. I like how the sky level has the Mii on a rope. He looks so goofy here. And then there's the music, which as always is pretty dope. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing this game after the video. Slot Car Rivals gets a massive thumbs up from me, boys. Market Crashers is probably the most neglected StreetPass game of all time. I guarantee you, not a single kid will want to buy a game about investing in financial stuff. Ugh, that's just boring. Which is what I thought at first. I've grown a liking to this kind of thing. I mean, I do invest in real life, so I was looking forward to doing it in StreetPass as well. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. I actually prefer it over slot car rivals. I'm not gonna pretend I was sleeping on this game though. Guaranteed, as a kid, I would not have given a single crap about this, and probably would have regretted getting it over slot car rivals. Nowadays though, I love it. This game is what YouTube financial bros say investing is like. You buy low, sell high, and they don't really go too much more in depth than that. There's no options trading for you degenerate gamblers out there, so that sucks for you. Street passers act as analysts, and the more analysts you have, the more accurate their market predictions will be. You can also passively trade and buy stocks and companies, but I lose a lot of money doing this because I'm very stupid. There are different stocks you can invest into, some being more valuable than others. Each stock is also based on an existing Mii Plaza game, which this game loves to reference the other StreetPass games. You can buy assets, which despite costing money, add to your net worth. They're all based on other StreetPass games, and adding them to your collection is pretty satisfying, but none of them are better than the giant gold statue Mii, hell yeah! I forgot to say, but I already beat this game like long ago before starting this video. The original goal was to get to $100 million, which counts as beating the main game. Although, the post-game requires you to get a staggering $10 billion, which I'm not even close to. I'm going to keep chipping away at that over the next few months, of course, and despite it sounding really bad, I went from around $120 million to around $300 million just recording footage for this, so I don't expect it to be that bad. Also, the play coin to real person conversion rate is perfect for this. And as far as I know, not a single feature is locked behind real street passers, so you're just chilling if you don't go outside. Well, nowadays, even if you do go outside daily, you still ain't street passing nobody. It's pretty fun and cool and very satisfying to see numbers go up very fast. $3 million per second. God, if only it was this easy IRL, I'd have a new video out every other day. Feed Me is ass, man, I'm sorry. Nah, I'm kidding. It's alright, but pales in comparison to almost all of the other games on here. You have to keep in mind that StreetPass flourished back in what a lot of people would describe as the golden age of mobile games. And a lot of these games are reminiscent of those old school mobile games. Bite-sized play sessions, no predatory mechanics, and not meant to be binged over long periods of time. One reason why I gravitate so much towards StreetPass is because it takes me back to those days. And Feed Me feels like a really bare bones, simplistic game you will play on your phone in like 2014. Boot it up for a minute before going to work or school and just boot it off again. Which I wouldn't mind at all, except this thing costs like real money. A lot of money. Okay, as an adult it's not a lot, but as a kid like a $5 game seemed expensive to me. The average play session is only like a minute long if I'm being generous. The gameplay loop here is Mii's will come to your inn and bring ingredients for you to cook food for them. This sounds cool and all, but the items they bring are random. So let's say they ask for something that requires chicken as a main ingredient, but they don't bring a single piece of chicken. This rarely happens, but it's just kinda dumb, I don't like it. Cooking dishes takes almost no time at all, and even though I don't really care too much for this one, I play it daily anyway, just due to how short sessions are. And when I do get screwed over in items, it's not really that big of a deal cause like, it barely even takes that long to play anyway. There are different versions of dishes you can get when playing. A failed version, a version, a yum version, a nice version, and a the best version. Getting anything other than the best version is infuriating because it's almost hard enough to get a perfect dish. Like, I actually had trouble getting the other versions for my footage because I had trouble purposely messing up the ingredients. This game takes place in the Find Me universe, and it tells the story of your adventurers before they go on the Find Me quest. Depending on how good the dish is, it enhances their performance in battle, but it doesn't affect the actual Find Me game. I honestly wish they made this one carry over to Find Me, like making your character's performance better in battle or something. The game explicitly states that this won't happen, but they didn't need to mention it because now I really want it. It would really justify the price of this because right now it's so bare bones. There are other features, but it's still just cooking, it's just more cooking. I really wish they made the cooking in this more intuitive, like have a cooking minigame to make getting a perfect dish feel more rewarding. Because right now you just tap ingredients you want and they're made automatically. Yeah, it's not really that entertaining. Have me manage stuff in the kitchen, take orders, manage cooking materials. I do have to say though, the dishes in this game look so good. Oh my gosh, I want to eat them so bad. I'm hungry as hell. I guarantee you, I am the only YouTuber on planet Earth who has talked about Feed Me for this long, and I don't think I should be proud of that. The atmosphere is on point as always, and the music is great, but this game just doesn't stand out at all. There's a reason why I never contemplated buying this as a kid. I do have to say though, the play coin to real person conversion rate is amazing. Doesn't matter though because there's better places to spend your play coins anyway, so yeah. Now this is how you make a bite-sized 1-minute StreetPass game. I actually bought this one as a kid, but barely played it because I didn't want to spend play coins on this. And yeah, spending play coins on this really isn't worth it. They're just as valuable as real StreetPassers, but you're spending 20 play coins on like 1 minute of gameplay. This game sees you launching out of a cannon and catching your upgrades in midair to kick some ass. You need to line up your ninjas to properly get all the equipment. There are different levels, and the game is honestly very easy. This is definitely very mobile game-esque. There's not too much to say. This review of the game is already longer than a session of the actual game itself. Also, these animations look absolutely awesome with the 3D effect, but you guys can't see it. It freaking sucks for you guys. I'm chilling right here. Mii Trek grows on you, but man, is it infuriating, my gosh. Okay, so you're an explorer, and you have to search for artifacts in these ruins with your Miis. How many steps you have in game is reflected in how many steps your StreetPassers have. Although you're kinda screwed if you use play coins because sometimes they'll only give like 10,000 steps. Oh, but if you're lucky, you might get 15,000 steps. Wow. There are a lot of paths to take, and most of the time you're just bumbling around this jungle or labyrinth trying to find the artifact. And to finish a stage, you need to find an artifact hidden in a chest. There are other items you can get, like cameras to take pictures of wildlife, and darts to shoot the very wildlife you're trying to document. If you encounter a predator with no dart gun, they brutally rip apart your Miis on screen with hyper-realistic blood everywhere, and okay, no, they just run away and you lose steps, basically. I like this game well enough, despite it not being the most engaging thing ever, but one thing that irks me is when a session ends, your steps don't carry over. Sometimes I'll end a session with like a bunch of steps left, and I can't use it because they don't carry over to the next area. It makes me so angry, I hate it, and this only happens when I get like a ton of steps. It never happens when I get like barely any. If you don't meet up with real StreetPassers, or the StreetPassers you do meet up with, assuming you're StreetPassing legit, don't have a lot of steps, progression is gonna be glacially slow. I mean, I use NetPass and get a ton of steps, and it still does feel slow. This is probably the most slow burn game here. And unlike the other long games, which have a lot of content to distract from the fact that it progresses slowly, yeah, no, this game doesn't really hide it at all. I do like the settings a lot though. The freaking Mayan pyramid on the cover just gets me. Looks like it was based on Tikal. Mesoamerican history is really underrated in my opinion, so I'm glad to see it getting some rep in my freaking StreetPass game, yeah. And even though I don't really care now, the animal facts are really cool. I would have dug this a ton back when I was in my National Geographic phase as a kid. I feel like every person had a period of time when they were a kid where they were obsessed with National Geographic. It can't just be me. And despite this game being like mid-tier, God, the result music is freaking fire. Just listen to this. It's heat right here. If you haven't noticed already, I've been using StreetPass music in like all of my videos recently. It's almost like it's foreshadowing for this video. If you want to find out what game I'm talking about next, just like listen to my soundtracks for my videos. I'm very deliberate in what I use. Don't go like analyzing my videos for like hours or something to find out what game I'm going to be talking about next. It's not that deep. I just use the music I like, okay? Don't stress it. Okay, so at first, I was preparing to kind of dismiss Flower Town, but actually getting footage for this video, it made me appreciate the game on a whole new level. I think I looked at this game at the wrong angle when first trying to review it. I see this game as less of a game and more of an application, if you get what I mean. There's no real gameplay here. It mostly consists of decorating and managing your flowers. In this game, you play as a florist, and your goal is to collect all the flower beads possible to become the ultimate flower person. I don't know what you call somebody who collects flowers. I don't freaking know, okay? I have a very limited vocabulary. You meet with other Miis who will help your plants grow and also crossbreed with yours, giving you new seeds. New seeds can either contain a different color of a breed you already have, or a completely new plant, or if you're unlucky, just the same plant you already have and it's just boring, you want to throw it away or sell it or something. It's very slow, like, the progression is extremely glacial. Realistically, you're meant to play this over like the course of years. And it wasn't fair for me to compare this to stuff like Mii Force and Monster Manor initially. I'd say it's very reminiscent of Ultimate Angler. Both focus a lot on customization and the ambiance of the setting rather than the gameplay. Although Ultimate Angler has more gameplay than this, most of what you'll be doing is creating this homely vibe for yourself. Once I got immersed, I was truly relaxed while playing. It's just so cozy. I know cozy games are all the rage nowadays, and for people who love slow burn, this is perfect. Although, I can imagine this would be frustrating to play without NetPass, even during the 3DS's prime. It's a good thing that Playcoins here are super helpful. As far as I know, there's no real difference between real people and Playcoin users, apart from the fact that you can't visit their gardens, which you can also customize your garden here and display your plants. I just love it so much, man. Everything about it is so relaxing. I wouldn't play it daily as it's a bit too slow for me to want to do that, but I will start playing it regularly now that I see its true potential. Also, Mr. Mindell is really chill. He acts as your mentor and he's just nice to have around. Even the street passers have personality in this game. It's weird seeing them talk like this. It's not for everybody, but I can see the appeal. It stands out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the more gameplay heavy games on here, but it holds its own pretty well. Warrior's Way is ass for real. And no, I'm not kidding this time. This game is actual freaking ass. I bought this one back when I was a kid, and even then I didn't like it. The play coin to real person conversion rate is so scuffed it's not even funny. For 20 play coins, you can purchase a whopping 750 mercenaries. Which if you haven't played this game, that sounds like a lot, right? Until you realize, the mid-game, the army sizes are like in the hundreds of thousands. So as a kid, I was completely stuck because I was literally the only one who played Warrior's Way in my area. And I couldn't even use play coins to progress because it barely made a difference. So yeah, that aspect of the game already bricks it for me. And when using NetPass, it's still absolutely scuffed and unbalanced. Players will visit you, and you'll earn soldiers depending on how many street passers the other player has in their park. Most of these guys only have like 200 players, so it does nothing to help my armies. Sometimes I'll have like, oh, one guy. Wow, it's really helpful. So even when using like the optimal way to play these games, I'm still moving at a ridiculously slow pace. If the other street passer also owns Warrior's Way, you'll get to fight them. Battles are basically a glorified version of rock, paper, scissors. Although, you do have to manage army composition and try to outsmart the AI by trying to figure out which army should go when. It can be really cool at points, but a lot of the time it feels really brain dead because other players are either way too easy or way too strong. The campaign is the main point of progression, and that part is really good when you can actually play it. Because again, it moves so ridiculously slow that I barely even get to experience it. I got really lucky with my footage and beat one of the countries despite being super outnumbered. But I wasn't actually planning on doing that because it'd take forever to build up my army and I just kinda YOLO'd it and it just worked out for me, so thank luck for that, I guess, right? This is really the only thing Warrior's Way has to it. It's a bad Street Pass game to be honest, and even then, it still has that Street Pass charm that I love. Still sucks ass though. Luigi's Mansion but not Luigi's Mansion is my favorite game that takes place completely in a mansion. But it's also the only game I played that takes place completely in a mansion. Yeah, I've never played Luigi's Mansion ever, and I don't plan on it either. This game's alright, it's okay, nothing special about it. I liked it a bit at first, but it gets very repetitive very quickly. These games with a lot of padding don't feel tedious to play because sessions are so short. But for this game, 5-minute sessions aren't out of the ordinary, which wouldn't be a problem if the variety was there. The battles impressed me at first, and yeah, I still think they're cool. It's kinda like this live combat thing, where you must block hits while also dealing damage to ghosts. Your weapons also gain XP after battle. I was never crazy on this game though, and even now I'm not really that into it. I always thought it was just me sucking, but seeing other people play this made me realize how slow combat can really be. Of course you can get better weapons and stuff, but it boils down to luck a lot of the time. You move around this mansion by using blocks that street passers give you and placing them down to create new rooms. Your main goal is to get to the next floor. Miis are generally more useful than playcoin dogs, but it's still more than manageable to play with them. It's alright, but I skip playing this one a lot of the time because I just don't really like the gameplay and I don't really like the setting either. Dark, ghostly mansion settings always kinda bored me and it's no different here. Not even the Street Pass charm could save this one either. I'm gonna keep playing it obviously, but I don't know, I'm just not really that enthusiastic about it. Ultimate Angler is one of my favorite Mii games of all time. It doesn't even feel like a Street Pass game. It feels like a completely different thing, separated from Street Pass, just due to how much content it has. The price is more than justified for this game. In the play coin to real person conversion rate is almost perfect, but there is one thing. There are these things called silver permits, which only appear when you Street Pass someone outside your state or province. And there are gold permits, which you can only get when you Street Pass somebody who doesn't live in your country. Since I use NetPass, I get one of these every single time, but man, it must have felt so special getting one of these legit. It kinda sucks for us Americans though, because most of us barely leave the country, let alone take our 3DS with us. The only time I ever went overseas was to go to South Africa, and let me tell you, nobody there was carrying around a 3DS, okay? So yeah, if you're not using NetPass or don't travel regularly, fully completing this game legit is virtually impossible. Or you might just have like a lot of tourists in your area and then you're just really lucky. But even then, the chance of them carrying around a 3DS is like really slim, so you're kinda screwed. But even without that, there's still a crap ton of content, and none of it is padded out either. I use the gold permits almost every single time because the fishing spots there are the best. First of all, they all look absolutely gorgeous, but they also give a ton of experience and money as well. See, I have 100k gold in this, solely through farming these fishing spots. And the fish here are super fun to catch. There are different kinds of baits that street passers will give you, and the main goal is to get these big ass fish, which are super fun to catch by the way. It almost feels like a boss battle trying to reel these guys in. When getting them, all of your other Miis help you reel in and tire out the aquatic beast. Once the bar in the top right corner goes down, you can finally start reeling it in. Since I have overpowered equipment, it was super easy when recording, but when I first played it, let me tell you, it was genuinely stressful. There's an invisible timer, so you have to be fast and reel in as much as possible, but you also need to make sure that your line doesn't completely break. It is so extremely satisfying once you reel these guys in. You can also catch garbage, which is less satisfying. In fact, it's ass and a waste of time. Timing your reels is super easy too. You can get either an excellent reel or a good reel, but I don't have footage of a good reel because it's genuinely hard to purposely not get an excellent. It's not like Animal Crossing where you need to be super fast. You can be several seconds off and still get it. And failing is even harder than getting a good. If you get this, you certifiably suck. Here's your reward. Mixing bait is a thing, but I never really use it. I'm pretty sure it can increase your chance of getting a big catch, but I never use it anyway, so I don't know honestly. It's not like these fish are super rare to catch anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I like to conserve my bait. I don't want to mix it with other stuff, you know? When I have used it, I've been catching straight bullshit anyway, so it doesn't matter. And yeah, like I said earlier, the environments in this game are mesmerizing. It's so relaxing, and the perfect game to play before bed, especially combined with the music. Gosh, it's so nice. There's not a single bad track in this game, and every area has its own unique sound. Genuinely so much effort put into all aspects of this thing. I honestly feel more connected to fishing when it's connected to an established game or series. Like, I would totally play a Mario fishing game. God, I want that now. I wish it was real. And fishing is like my favorite aspect of most games that include it. I'll just sit and do it for hours. There's more stuff too, even after your fishing is over, like upgrading fishing rods and creating new ones as well. You can also maintain your own fish tanks, upgrading and customizing them to your liking. And even the main Mii character is great. I haven't been talking about the other ones because they're pretty unremarkable, but I've grown quite a liking to, I actually don't know her name. The wiki won't tell me, and I just kind of forgot. I don't feel like checking. Let's call her Isabel. Yeah, Isabel, that's a good name, right? I like Isabel's design, and she just has a pleasant personality. I also really like the main Mii ninja launcher as well. Her design is so simple, but so perfectly crafted at the same time. Oh, and for Ultimate Angler, if this still doesn't sound like enough content, there are special challenges you can do if you really need to get your fix. I mean, all of these StreetPass games have special challenges, but these ones are like really rewarding for some reason. And I know I keep saying this, but the aesthetic for this game is legendary. The fish look so good. Their models are so satisfying to look at. Oh my gosh. And the environments make everything so nostalgic for me to look at. I love beach settings and just anything involving large pools of water. Ultimate Angler is easily the best StreetPass game, and I wholly wish that it was a full game on its own. The most thorough and well-designed StreetPass game of all time. Okay, so I haven't really been playing Battleground Z all that much, but I have a good reason for that. This was one of the few StreetPass games I bought with real money back in the day, and I would grind play coins daily just to play it. I got really far in, and I have super fun memories of it too. But my tastes have also changed. The kid who used to prefer those fast-paced action games isn't really around anymore. But even then, I still enjoyed my time with this one. You play as your Mii, trying to survive the zombie apocalypse with your assistant. Each stage has a different mission you have to complete, and it actually has quite a bit of variety within it. Some stages just boil down to beating as much zombie ass as possible, but others will have you protecting a certain thing from zombies or trying to retrieve an item. The Mii's StreetPass will either join you or give you weapons. Each weapon has a unique loadout along with special attacks, which are awesome. And the weapons also have their own health bars, and if they break, they're gone. If you break all of your weapons, it's game over for you. The game is very high quality, and I can certainly understand why I vibed with this one so much as a kid. The bosses, I especially liked. They're not super hard, but they're just fun to fight. Also, play coins in this are basically perfect. As a kid, this would be the only StreetPass game I would play regularly because of that. A nice little experience that will leave you satisfied after every session. And unless you lose. Yeah, losing kind of sucks actually. Okay, so Mii Force is the second game in a row that I would binge as a kid. Again, I would farm play coins every day and hire these dogs to help me in the game. And I actually beat this game originally as well. For that reason, I completely neglected this game when replaying StreetPass. I had it in the vault and only brought it back to get footage for this video. And replaying it again, I think I'm going to keep playing this game and beat it a second time. You see, this isn't your grandma's space shooter. It has this really cool loadout system where the favorite color of your street passers determines what your weapon will be. And you can switch out your loadout on the bottom screen to change the weapons you use. They also act as your health, so when you get hit, you lose an attack. This also has one of the better StreetPass stories somehow. The main villain is really charismatic, and this sidekick is so doofy, I love him. It has that Saturday morning cartoon vibe, which is absolutely perfect for StreetPass, and the cutscenes are really well choreographed as well. I'm not the biggest fan of space shooters, but this hits the spot for me. I love when games let you experiment, and here, it doesn't seem super in-depth, but being able to mix and match a combination of 10 possible weapons in 4 different slots literally allows you to create so many batshit insane combinations. And parts of this game can be somewhat challenging. I mean, it's nothing crazy. Most of the difficulty is just due to my recklessness. The levels look great. I love the first area. It's just so freaking chill. I love beach areas so much. I know I've already said that before, but like again, I have to stress that. There's also a boss after each level too, which are fun to fight and are sorta challenging. For what it is, I don't have much to say, since this isn't really a blind playthrough. This is just me reminiscing on the game years later. The game definitely still holds up and is even better than I remember actually. Find Mii 2, I didn't even know existed until like a few months ago. As a kid, I never beat Find Mii, let alone thought about beating it twice. So I had to play this one solely for the video, and gosh, it's so freaking good, guys, holy crap. Find Mii never felt like a full game, more of just a fun thing you play every now and then if you had enough street passes. This feels not like a full-fledged game, but a much more in-depth, rewarding experience. This one feels more like a traditional RPG and features a lot more strategy compared to the original Find Mii, although said strategy requires a lot of play coins. You're able to hire up to 3 previous Miis at a time, so if you find an overpowered Mii and are sad you'll never be able to use them again, do not cry, as you can recruit them for the low price of 7 play coins. You can also buy potions for play coins, and they're super expensive. Design-wise, it's clear these aren't meant to be used excessively, so even though I have infinite play coins, I only use them once or twice per session to keep things balanced and fun. There's one that revives your entire party, which is overpowered and only costs 20 play coins, and one that strengthens your entire party and increases their level. And there are other ones, but I didn't really use those all that much, so I'm not going to talk about them. You can also have Miis team up with each other in this to make the enemy take even more damage. If you team up with the Mii of the same color, your magic will be twice as effective. Again, awesome for strategy. And honestly, I just really like how this game feels, like a full-fledged RPG. Not only does it have more mechanics, but it's just kinda harder in general. I mean, it's still Find Mii, so like it's not that difficult. You can blast through it with like play coins and stuff, but still. It's a very fun, intuitive game that I'm looking forward to playing again after I make this video. Is that the last game? Oh crap, that's the last game. Before we end this, I want to talk about this game's legacy. Not Find Mii 2, StreetPass, obviously. I truly believe we are at the tail end of StreetPass's life. It's really weird for me to see this game become less and less accessible over the years. A mechanic that once brought people together to play these games is now acting as a barrier. And with NetPass, it doesn't feel the same. All of these are real people, but I'll never know I got the chance to meet with them in real life. As a kid, I was the only Nintendo fan for miles, and even though I dabbled in Xbox and computer games, Nintendo was my go-to for entertainment. So getting a StreetPass, even just one, made me feel less lonely. I remember driving home from a college football game with my family at night and getting a StreetPass on the way home. StreetPass made it feel like I was playing with real people, even if they were just Miis. And even now, even though that feeling is not there anymore with NetPass, I can still feel that camaraderie there. All of these people I meet with have their own lives and interests, their own backgrounds, and their own homes. And when I meet up with them, if even just to play a few games, it feels like I am playing with friends. All of this to say, God, I am so freaking lonely, man.